What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Real Gym, Real Talk. I got your man Eddie Hernandez, the original rock in the building. We got Rob Rivera, the 1,000 pound squatter, and of course the guru, Henri Skiba. How's everybody doing?
Good. Good. Yeah, we really have quite a group of people here that, hit both realms. Donnie, you've done bodybuilding and powerlifting. Same thing with Eddie. We have a lot of people that draw from when we talk.
Well, Eddie's a legend in the powerlifting and bodybuilding.
All right, let's go, baby.
How you been, Eddie?
Coming on. What was that?
I said you're a legend in the bodybuilding game. You know, I used to read about you in the magazines. You was the guy I was looking to, trying to be like. You know, strong and big.
And you were the first guys I knew to really shred it up. You knew how to shred that body. There's already
We can't hear you, Eddie.
Oh, you can't hear me?
Oh, now we do. Yeah. I hear you now. Gotcha. Yeah.
There you go. All right, let's talk about something. Eddie and I have a commonality between each other. Eddie, you and I lifted against, not in the same class, but in the same contest before. We had a good time back in the day. Why don't you tell us about it, Ed?
I competed in pounding all through high school. I started off as a 198 pounder. And when I got out of high school, I went into the 20-pound class. And in college, I was competing as a 242 pounder. The only thing I left behind in powerlifting is I never hit a 2,000-pound total.
That's crazy for back then, especially.
You ain't dead yet, brother. You ain't dead yet, baby. That's it. You know? That's what Rob tells me. He gets behind my ass and says, "Come on, old man, let's go." You ain't done yet. Eddie, come on, old man, let's go. A chance to start for. And then Donnie too, man. He's strong as hell.
I'm trying to get back at it. I wasn't as strong as you guys, but you know.
You're full of shit. You pull 700 and something pounds in a deadlift. You're strong as hell, baby.
Trying to get back to it.
All right, well, listen, that's what we got to do, man, because it's not over yet, man. And that's what we got to keep preaching to these people. We got some youngsters there. You talk about Rob over here, young as hell. We've been in the game for a while already, but it's not.
30 years.
Look at you. You're 50 years old, right?
I'm 51. Eddie, what are you?
56.
56. Still rock and roll. You did, I think the last thing I seen you do, you did like 225 for like 50-something reps. What the hell? It was 20-something reps? 30? It was
38.
38 reps.
38
Crazy. Bananas.
The most people get top on it.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Man.
And you had your hip, right? You just had your hip fixed. You and Henri.
I had both hips done.
Wow. Jeez. Hey, man, that's what's up.
Knock on wood, I haven't had any of those issues yet, But I need new knees real bad.
Relax, I need a new one. Johnny, we've never tried flex it with you. I really think that might help you a little bit. All the powerlifters I know use flex. It helps your knee joints a lot.
You know me, I'm just, I'm a turmeric guy. I take a lot of garlic at night. I've been plant-based a lot too. I've been doing a lot of plant-based, and believe it or not, I feel really good. My recovery's a lot better. And I never was a proponent of, plant. I thought it was always incomplete proteins, but now that I did my research, you can, get complete proteins from plants. And I've been feeling real good. I'm not telling my numbers yet, but I'm inching back. I want to do a one last comp and set some, hopefully do something big, just for,
Well, I'm just let you in on something because Donnie and I have been talking about it. Is he has a youth gym too, and we want to do some meets out of Real Gym because he has 3 floors, man. And it'll be a great place for us to do some different things. Yeah. Like bring Big Bob down there sometime, Big Yeti, and just move some big numbers.
Eddie, you should host some bodybuilding competitions, maybe. You know what I mean, like a Eddie Hernandez Classic or something, in conjunction with.
I did it back. I think I ran like 5 shows back in the late '90s, early 2000. My last show I ran was 2001. I don't know. I'm so busy with school and football right now.
Yeah, it's tough.
You know what it is? I got a bunch of people I train with here at Retro. Pat came, but Pat Scusco. I met Pat too.
Yes.
But trains with a lot of people. And there's a few bodybuilders there, like chicks that are actually pretty competitive. And the problem is, there's only like 1 or 2 shows around the neighborhood, around the area, and it's like they're falling few between. And then a lot of them don't to go to those big shows because there's hundreds of people there and they get lost in the crowd,
Right.
All right. Let me release this a little bit. I talked to Donnie a little bit about it. We've been approached about doing something with a lifter that is going to revive the Mr. America title down in Atlantic City. And it's going to be in October. So I'm just going to let a little information come out about that. I'm sure I'm going to talk to some of you guys about doing that. And Eddie, I know we could get some help from you. And for powerlifting, there's to be a powerlifting component. And there's also be a strongman type component. And so, Donnie and I have been talking about it.
Right.
Vendors there and everything else, and it's going to be a big deal.
It's going to be real big.
A little secret. October 9th, it's going to happen.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
No, I'm there.
Bring it back. It's going to be in Jersey at the Convention Center, Atlantic City Convention Center. Maybe a little more, I should say. But that's what's going on.
It's going to be good stuff. Bring it back.
Works. Let's bring lifting back to Jersey, and let's get the people out there and compete. Enough of this viral stuff. Let's come back to life.
They're going to be chomping at the bit, too, because everybody's, we're in seclusion right now. Everybody's itching to get back out there. So, it's going to be a good time,
Yeah, I can't wait to listen. I live for competition. I've been competing since I was a kid. I started off in martial arts, winning competitions, breaking bricks at fucking 15 with my hands, and then going into high school, playing football for the first time. I played lacrosse, and then I wrestled. Played varsity, all of them. Fell in love with wrestling, wrestled D1 International. Made it all the way to the Olympic levels. Some life hit hard and closed some doors for me in that. And then I got into MMA because of my fighting background. And then I got into a bad motorcycle accident as I was training for a fight. 6 bulging discs in my neck and a broken heel. I went 12 feet up in the air, landed on my helmet, cracked my helmet. People said I shouldn't lift again. People said I shouldn't do anything again. And
fuck that.
It's just I lived for that competition. I was sitting at home and I was going crazy. I said, "What's a life worth living if you can't do what you love?" And I need the competition. Something about fighting for that top spot. Something about putting my grit against something else. Like I'll get it, at the end of the day, I worked harder. Or I didn't work harder. That guy worked harder than me. At the end of the day, he put in the extra hours, put in the extra reps, put in the extra homework. You know what I mean? You gotta. It's a mental and a physical game, And it's just that all those aspects that comprise competition, and then the day, the anticipation. It's just I've been missing it. I'm going crazy. I live for it. It's it's my life. It brings me joy. Besides being married, my wife. My wife's my life, but. It really fulfilled. Remember we compete all the time in my gym before this virus type thing. You and I had a mini contest in the gym. You want to tell them what happened with that mini contest? Well, so my Skiba puts a shirt on the line, right? And the first time I never hit 9 yet. I came up, I think it was 925 I smoked it. And I put 925 on the bar. Skiba put up a shirt. He's like, "Listen, you give me your shirt. I had to give him a hat. He wanted my hat. It's either I got my hat or I got the shirt. If I hit the lift or not." And I said, "All right, Skeeps, thanks for the shirt." And I got there and I lifted that, came up, hit the bucket, and came right back up with it. So I walked out with no shirt. He walked out with one. I can't wait. I'm back though. I did my best. Listen, that's what it's about, man. You gotta go out there and lay yourself out there, and that's what we do all the time. Donnie.
That's some serious weight.
That's
925.
right.
I just missed 10:25 at the top. I fought it for like 4 seconds. 10:25 on the miserable. I caught it on the bottom. I didn't go. I was a little nervous. First time touching 1,000. So I didn't hit the bucket. I stopped right before the bucket. So I didn't get my ring. So I fought it all the way out, and I got caught. I leaned a little forward because of the sway in the cable bar, and I came a little out of position. And 3/4 of the way up, I fought it, and then I had to dump it. Couldn't take it.
I can't imagine that much weight on your back. Years ago, I used to have strongman at the other gym, and the guys had the yoke loaded up to about 800 plus.
Yeah.
And when I stood up with that damn yoke, I felt like I got struck by lightning. I put that shit right back down. I said, this is not for me. Imagine taking a step with that? Hell no. Yeah. I give a lot of respect to that. Yeah.
He always hits depth. He never cuts it short.
Yeah.
Amazing. Really good big.
Eddie, your thing was squat or deadlift. What was your big? You were a bigger squatter or a puller?
My big.
Eddie, yeah.
Who you asking?
I was asking which was his biggest lift.
At 227 at my best.
How much?
Say it again.
How much was it, Donnie? Do you do?
7 squats, 7 deadlifts.
720. The thing you
750.
that's
750 squat.
Oh,
And how much the deadlift?
700.
Oh, that's nice.
raw. And back then, yeah.
Solid number.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's crazy is when
198, 220, right?
I was 220 when I did that.
that's
It's
good,
not,
man.
man. It's strong as hell, man. You put 750 pounds on your back, you get back up, you're strong too, man. I don't care what weight class you're in. You know?
It's the kids today. When you look at the numbers they're putting up, the Larry Wills, the Pete Rubishes, and all of these cats. It's like, these guys moving mad weight now. It's like they're breaking records every meet. Like it's it's unfathomable to me. Like I'm watching these young people. I'm like, yeah. I seen a girl as a girl. She benched 315, squatted 585. I'm like, what? Raw. I'm like, moving some numbers, man.
I see Yuri Belkins. I see Yuri Belkins pull 881 like it was 225 off the ground. The guy is 220. Crazy.
Well, Chris's 885 is just as impressive.
Yeah, well, I know Chris. I see Chris 79 is like Chris has the best deadlift I've ever seen. By far, Chris has the prettiest. His deadlift is the Regal Suave of deadlifts. You know what I mean? It's just effortless and beautiful.
Is that the kid that was at your gym the other time when Milenichev was there?
Yeah, he was there one time when Milenichev was there.
Yeah, I think I know you talking.
Yeah, he just squatted what? How much? 1100?
He squatted like 1180, I think, at the WPO quarterfinals, and he pulled off. Yeah, second place behind Hoff. Crazy total. And then I think he pulled like 880. I think 885. Like, bro, candy. This guy's his deadlift is beautiful. He's all around. And if he found the bench, if my man found the bench press, he could take out Hoff. Okay, you heard it here first. My man finds a bench press, he's taking out Hoff. He's a strong dude, man. And he's technical, like he's consistent. It's just,
We'll get some stuff later in the year with you guys. Maybe give some seminar. So how do you get that strong?
Yeah, crazy. I got when I started benching in the shirt, I learned a whole new respect for guys in gear, man.
I never lifted in gear ever.
I never lifted a shirt. I never wore a shirt. I bet.
Yeah, I'm a raw guy. I do a bench shirt on, man. And if you just move 1 centimeter off and you lose all the tension in the shirt, you have 600-700 pounds in your hands, it feels like 1,000. You know what I mean? Like, that's when the street goes bad. You know?
Right.
I mean, catching it, you go the wrong way, and the thing flings behind your head. That shirt throws you because you lose it. When you get that sling in it, when you get that real good resistance, if you come out just a little bit, it's dangerous, man.
Right.
You don't got good guys handling, you can get hurt real bad.
Right.
Well, that's so now we wouldn't have to get face savers. But you guys everybody's going above 7, 8. Just did 9:15 with reverse bands. I mean, come on. That's a lot of work.
I never got into equipped lifting. I mean, you know, it wasn't applicable to what I was doing. You know what I mean? I wasn't doing for comps and all like that. I just wanted to be the strongest motherfucker walking down the street. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? That type of thing. So, you know, I always felt like I ain't gonna be able to throw my bench shirt on and fuck a motherfucker up if they came at me. You know what I mean? So, that was always my thing. You know what I mean? But,
I said that. You can ask him. I said that. I said that, yo. That's crazy.
oh, shit. Can't bring it on the football field, right, Eddie? You just gotta rock and roll.
That's right.
When you on the train, you got your bag on your back, man. You can be like, yo, give me a second. Let me throw this towel around. My man looks at me the wrong way. I'm throw my back right over my shoulder. Next stop, you know?
Yeah.
Hey, Don, I can't help but notice you got one of your shirts on. It's really nice, man.
Thanks.
I want to give you some compliments with that. And even the shirt I'm wearing today, a young lady named Victoria made them, and I think they're nice as hell, man.
Oh, yeah, the back of that, too.
That's
Real nice
hot.
person.
Yeah.
On the back it says something about powerlifting. I can't remember.
Turn it around.
Make
Pacific
powerlifting.
ugly again.
That's right. Let's make powerlifting.
That's right. I call it ugly muscle every time I take a pic. Ain't nothing pretty about my shit. You know, even Eddie at his peak. This is why I liked him. Yeah, everybody was so pretty with their shit. Eddie's shit was rock hard. He looked like bricks. He looked like like the Thing. You know what I mean? His shit was rocks, like cinder blocks. That's why, man, I was like, that's the look I want. Not that pretty shit. I want my shit like a gladiator. That's where you look, Eddie.
It's like, man, like touching a wall, steel.
You can tell the guys. You can tell the guys lifting heavy. You know, you can tell it right.
Yeah, the density of the muscle. Yeah.
They have more thickness to their abs rather than those flat abs that a lot of these guys
Shooting for.
Well, because you know why?
out there on the beat.
The heavyweights build those big, powerful abs, right? And these guys are always vacuuming instead of blowing the belly out like we do to make it stronger, right?
Right.
The first thing I've ever seen, I'll tell you, the thickest abs I've ever seen was on Lou Simmons. And he does them, and every time he squats, you know, he blows his stomach out, blows it into the belt. Those abs, when I seen him when he squatted 925, he was 230 pounds, had perfect abs. They were like big fucking ravioli.
Right.
Every single row, about eight on each side. Well, at least 6 on each side.
Oh, I always say you don't use a twig to hold up a fucking building, do you? You need the biggest pillar to support the base. The big ass redwood trees. That's what you need. That's the way your core has to be, you know? Not this little twig, you know, hourglass, you know, that pretty shit. Yeah, get out of here.
Hey, Donnie, what about that gentleman bodybuilder that is strong as hell from your group?
Oh, OC. Now that's an exception. He's from West Africa though. He got that African blood in him. He's just born like that. The genetics, you know, they done dipped in my tree a little bit. You know what I mean? You know, some of my shit ain't like it. I mean, Eddie's, Puerto Rican, right? Boricua. But yeah, he's straight from West Africa. Them West African genetics. He's strong as a motherfucker and he's pretty as a motherfucker.
Right?
Huh?
Nigerian.
Yeah, Nigerian. Yeah. Mm-hmm. His brothers like that. His father's like that. His baby's like that. Baby born with muscles.
What's like Nigerian Express over there? Is she still training?
Nah, she's training with a guy that I used to train with me along. Oh, I'm fine. She's over there with Fonz.
Really?
Yeah. That's what I said. Next. That's my dog, though.
Next.
Love Fonz. And, you know, we got to support these independent gyms. You know, East Coast Iron, Savage City Strength. You know, there's a lot of guys that are struggling right now, and you know, it's rough out there. You know what I mean?
A guy that was so brutally strong. We had a professional strongman come and try and lift that dumbbell, the 225-pound dumbbell. That's him, right?
Yeah.
He lifted it with one hand and pressed it.
Yeah.
That guy is a brutally strong guy.
Yeah, he's a good guy too. Real good guy. He's a Jersey City fireman. Real good dude. Real good dude.
Wow.
Yeah, real good dude. Yeah.
He's a great dude, man.
Eddie, you remember him, right? You remember Alfonso?
Yeah. He was strong. Yeah, I remember. I met him once.
Yeah, all of those guys come up under Eddie. Like it's shit down here. I think something's in the Keyport water because everybody was strong and Diesel from down here, man. It's like it's crazy. Dwayne Ball, one of your proteges, you know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, incredible body. I mean, incredible body and strong as hell.
Yep.
Trained heavy. He was the only guy that I came into the gym that trained the way that lift the type of loads that because when I came down here and I stumbled upon this place, when I walked in the gym, they're like, you still lifting that heavy? You still lifting like that? D-Ball was the only one still rocking like that. Till this day, I'm pretty sure he's still lifting that way. You know? Yeah. But that was one of Eddie's guys.
Good deadlifter.
Yeah. He put one day, this is about 10 years ago, he came back down to visit me. Just ice cold, came into the gym, surprised me. And, we went at it like how you guys go at it. We went at it, we rocking and rolling, we're pulling. And I swear, I think I got him today. You know what I mean? I knew I had him. It was 585. So I pulled 585. And right at the top, I had already worked out before he got there, so I was a little fatigued. So it peeled out of my hand at the top, he got up under there and he did it because he's a very controlled lifter. Very, I'm like, I'm a rip and run. He's very controlled, and he pulled it so smooth and so easy. I just like, God damn. He still got it like nothing, like cake, Then I had to do bent over rows at 405 though, to get at him. But yeah, D-Ball's a hell of a motherfucking. He's strong as hell. He was a good bodybuilder too.
Those people, you want people like that for training partners, man. That's the best training partner you could get, man.
When he left, the gym went down like this. The numbers went like this. It took a long time to come back because he was a big part of it. People just love to train in his, his aura, his environment, But
that's why when I come to Skiba, he says it all the time, man. I put a fire in everybody's asses, man. If you weren't ready to work out today, I'm here. You working out today, boy. You will go get your ass in gear. We are gonna do it.
He's the same fire. Because listen, man, that's what makes a difference. Go to these little retro gyms, most of the retro gyms. People are just doing their thing, eat pizza and shit or whatever the hell they do, right? The attitude is not there. When we do stuff, when we lift in a powerlifting gym, everybody's there for the same purpose, and it's like synergistic, man. Everybody just gets together, and everybody gets better for us.
Everybody's got a goal, They ain't just in there to look pretty for the beach or for the girls, They in there because they got something to do, They got to put on work today. It's not a big bill.
They're in there with purpose.
Right.
Exactly.
There's a why behind their lifting.
Right.
As opposed to just saying I showed up.
Right.
Exactly. You have guys that compete. All of us get behind the guys that are competing. You know what I mean? Because when they go to a meet, that reflects on us a little bit, on all of us, and we want that guy. That's why, I always encourage all my guys to go and follow when people go to a meet. Like next time Rob goes out, or when Donnie goes out, or Eddie, or any of the guys are going out. Because when you have other people behind you that are, screaming for you, they're your family, man, you want to lift that fucking weight. You just don't get it. Not like you don't care, like you miss. No, you fucking give it every fucking thing you got till you pass out. How many times this guy almost passed out after pulling the deadlift? Really.
Oh yeah. I used to always see the Tweety birds.
Birds and white stars and shit, yeah.
That's good.
Tweet birds. I'm like looking up in the air, like, oh my god, I feel like I just took a big hit in a football game.
Yo, that pressure, deadlift pressure is crazy. When you deadlift high, you get in position, that pressure you build up in your body is insane. You know?
Blood pressure's through the roof, and that's why a lot of people faint.
Right.
And they say in the shirt, that's the hardest part about like gear lifting, is you gotta learn how to deal with that pressure.
Right.
Bro, I want to rip that. I put it on the first 30 seconds. I said, yo, take this shit off of me, bro. It's killing me. Eating my triceps off, you know, like it's just so much pressure. I couldn't move. I'm stuck like this. You know what I mean? And then, like, they have to, like, stretch the arms on the bench. And then as I'm going down, that shit's like the collar, the material sucking my lungs in. And, like, I'm, like, trying to fight the shirt back out. And that's what's building more and more pressure. And I think I only had like 600 pounds on the bar. I thought I was going to pass that. It's crazy. That pressure's insane.
Crazy, yeah.
That's what you gotta like. You gotta learn to deal with that pressure. You gotta learn, you know, to use that.
That's why we talk about.
You gotta make that a part of your training.
But yeah,
Now you gotta get used to it. It takes time.
That's kind of honestly why most of my meets I never really miss a lift. Like I usually, you know, I'm pretty good. I go like 7 for 9, 8 for 9. You know, 9 for 9. It's because I train that way. I train to like under that pressure, to feel fatigued, and then I go to push to the limits. So that way, by the end of the day, you know, deadlift's coming around. I ain't that tired. I'm ready to go. I got a little reserve tank ready to go. You know.
And you know what I always want to mention is just the exuberance you have when you make a lift, like when you do get something you really want to get. I don't think anything could beat the time that you got your first 500-pound bench and you went over, grabbed your buddy Pat, and
Pat, 5 feet in the air.
And it was nothing but pure exuberance. It made him happy, it made you happy, right?
I've been fighting that 500 raw bench for so long. You know, so long I've been chasing it. You know, I finally got it. You know, Pat was part of the recovery process. You know, and it's just so much. I saw so much joy and happiness and all that hard work, the failures. I missed 495 3 times before that meet. A week before that meet, I missed 495. But I hit 500 on the meet, though. You know what I'm saying? It's like I was hitting
It's a different type of stimulus when you're in the meet, though. You know, it's like any competition. You know, some people are built for it, some people aren't. You know what I mean? So it's gonna.
I live for it. I live for it. You know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, listen. One of the things I also want to make sure down the line, and because Donnie and Eddie and I, you know, we've been around the game for a while. I want to invite some of my older friends to come and talk about some of the different meets and powerlifting and things we learned from some of the older people. Because one thing we see in powerlifting over and over, it's sometimes old stuff reinvented. Like people are doing floor presses now, and doing chains, and doing so many different exercises that used to be done in the old days. So instead of like just waiting for it to come around again, I want to hear and talk to some of these people and tell us some of the secrets they had. You know, you don't have to reinvent the wheel to learn, you know, to do something again.
There's a lot of stuff that's not used, you know what I mean, that I utilize, and even when I was fortunate enough to train a couple of guys that went to the league and getting them up to speed, I would use certain things that I learned from you guys a long time ago, and a lot of it was, you know, static, contraction, isometrics, you know.
Back work. I love that, man.
Yeah, that was key. Mm-hmm. But you got to do it the right way. So, you know, it's a little tricks to it. You know what I mean? How to apply it.
Come back to the gym when we can come back. I can't wait to play with that.
That's why that rack you got, the static dynamic. Oh my God. Woo.
That is the shit.
I need that.
I can't wait to share it with you guys.
Yeah.
Right? I see him over there, Rob, man. That
was a good piece. I'm surprised it never took off. People don't know how to utilize it though, you know.
It's $10,000 now. That's why.
Oh, right. Yeah, it's too
expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a big thing that's taking place now, especially with athletes, is the velocity-based training, where they're taking it's almost like they're taking a weight that's like maybe 45 to 55% of their max, and they're moving it and they're having it measured through tendo units.
Right.
I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with that.
Yeah, they're doing that to keep them safe, though, right? It's
Yeah. Well, what they can do with a weight that's sub-maximal, they're able to kind of determine if that guy is ready for a max that day. You know, if that bar isn't moving at a certain speed, then they're going to back him off. They're not going to max him out that day.
Gotcha.
Right.
You have any of those at your place, Eddie?
No, I got to eyeball that out. But there's a way of doing it now through an app. I just haven't found out how you can do that.
Nintendo unit. We've been doing it for 15 years with Westside.
Okay. I'm actually going to be on a webinar on Friday with some guy that's trying to install that in a lot of the high schools.
Wow. That's great. That's yeah.
Yeah, you see a lot of the colleges on the power racks over in
Yeah.
the corner. You'll see like a computer.
Right.
And that's what that's all about.
You know who has all that stuff? You ever see Coach McKenna down in Notre Dame?
No, I've never seen the racks. I was just there 2 years ago.
Knows that what they do is they actually you put in how much a kid's max is, and they just set at the exact max, and it's pretty amazing. But he's done all that kind of stuff. He's really ahead of the curve, the cat.
That's great.
Huh.
It saves younger athletes, I think.
Real good.
I think that unit will save a lot of younger athletes, man. Because I remember growing up as a kid, we used to go to the gym and bang weights, stupidly, not the right way. We had to figure it out, I was fortunate enough to live with the college gym, so I had a little older dudes mentor me my way through. My father told me how to lift, and then obviously I met Pat and Henri Skiba, Chris, and everybody's.
That's what's needed. It's a lot of guys, I call them YouTube guys. It's a lot of people that haven't been, through it. They actually had the apprenticeship, that lived it. You know what I mean? They're just YouTubing. So their application, they might be, like they say, EMC squared type guys, but they really don't have real world application. Like an Eddie. So, like when a kid comes from SJV to train and he stumbles into my spot and he's rocking, I know all what he's doing, he's right. His stellar form is right. He's squatting right. He's, because I know he's rocking with Eddie. So, it's interchangeable. So, but they don't put the value in the coaching that way. They change how many head coaches at that place, SJV. But they better not get rid of Eddie or that team will be in the dirt. You know what I mean? And that's what, people have to understand the importance of a strength coach, a quality coach. You know what I mean? Alabama.
Of course.
You know what I mean? The strength coach. You know what I mean? Like it's where it's at. And we don't get.
He's the guy that's with the players more so than even the head coach.
Right. We know what you got in you. We know. Right. We know who really is about it and who's not. We know who's really, and that tells you a lot about a kid that's willing to get under something and move something, with the type of, grit that they have, the mental fortitude, to dig in. There's guys that look like that, they might even move more weight than the one guy, but this one right here, he's going to get underneath that weight. He's the one you want on the field. He's the one that should be playing Mike linebacker. He's going to come up and fill that hole. He don't give a fuck what's going through. Yeah. But the guy, that's that's the telltale right there.
Pumped up, I want to fucking work out now, man. God almighty. Come on.
And that's the thing. And that's the thing. A lot of people mistake a stronger athlete as a better athlete. It doesn't quite transfer in that matter on the field or the sport.
Right.
Basically, we lift to try to optimize, injuries. We don't want to have the injuries coming in. So
right.
From that standpoint, that's my main thing, and that's what I feel really proud about. Is that all the times that I've been the strength coach for over 25, 30 years, I've never had an ACL injury in my career to any of my athletes.
There you go.
In the past 8 years, I've only had maybe 4 or 5 concussions. We do a lot of neck work at least 3 times a week.
Right.
Whether it's manually, we got 2 iron necks at school, and and the old manual where you press on the guy's hands with your hands and stuff like that. That's basically it. But we're big on our neck.
I do bridges with the kids, like old wrestling bridges, and I use the bands in the rack, and I have them press into the ice and from the back and press back, side and side, and then we work bridges, and I have them spin. Use your hands, utilize in your back bridge, and spin back to the front. You know what I mean? And that's done well for me over the years.
Yeah.
I used to have a 22-inch neck back in the day.
I
Love
got
that.
deuce right here, kid. Deuce. I got deuce right here.
I was going to ask you a question. You think
That's what's in my life.
But Eddie's right though. It's about you're preparing, you're building a kid up for the wear and tear throughout the season. That's what people don't understand. Off-season training is to prepare them to be able to weather that storm throughout the season. And in-season training is a lot different because they have a lot of wear and tear. They're banging out all week. So you can't train them. On the weekends you can't train them to the same intensity. You have to balance it out, and you have to know the kids individually. Who can withstand it? Who's going to recover here? Who's not recovering? Who's partying? Who's doing the right things? And I know he sets it up accordingly. Each kid, he has a program, but he's able to dial each kid in individually so that they're maximizing the potential throughout the season. And that's the difference between a strength coach and a guy that's fucking YouTubing and getting his fucking programming from a spreadsheet and all this, that, and everything sounds good, and he just lays it out to the kids, and he's not instructing them the same way. If you look at Eddie's video, you see him watching every kid. When he puts up his little video, I see him looking at every kid, making sure they're doing it right. And that's what it's about, and then he'll come and correct the kid. Not just throw the shit out there and let you do anything and make your way and take a fucking check. That's not what it's about. It's about maximizing all the individuals and knowing what their potential is.
I remember you also do a lot of strength, but you also have G-Son work with you some of the speed stuff. You had some great athletes.
Yeah, he does the speed work, and I lay down the foundation. But I keep it real simple. You know what I mean? I don't get too complicated. All of this stuff, depending on what you're trying, because you're trying to get them up to speed fast. You know what I mean? It's like some kids you only have for a certain amount of time, so you have to, powerlifting is the foundation of everything. Squat, dead, and overhead press, and bench. You need that. That's the first thing. Then you got your Olympic lifts, your cleans, you know what I mean? Snatches rarely, depending on if the kid is athletic enough and he's skilled enough, you can, take him there. But that's really unnecessary for what we're trying to do. But, cleans are important, power cleans. You don't have to do squat cleans all the time, but it depends, and just getting them up to speed. And then it's, all of the bent over rolls, the pull-ups, all that shit that nobody else wants to do,
Right. Circuit training, interval circuit training.
Metabolic condition, hell yeah.
Wrestling. When I was wrestling G1, all my coaches. Yeah, we used to set up circuits and run it for hours straight, run it. Run it, and one station would be a rest station. You got one station where run it for an hour. You know what I mean? We would have ladders on one side, ropes on the rope. Then we have a bar with like 135 on it, and do some clean and presses. And then the other guy would be doing mountain crawls on the other side of all those stations, circle around. And for like 45 minutes to an hour, and then we get into some live work. It's crazy in training.
Right.
That's what makes you strong. That's what gets you through a whole season. All those quick twitch muscles firing, keeping your ligaments and your tendons strong from all of that. It's all time under the tension. You know what I mean? You got to put your body through that work.
Yeah.
Yeah. I go through different phases with the wrestlers. They have their off season when we go maybe two or 3 months where we're basically trying to put a little muscle on them, not necessarily get their weight class, unless they plan on wrestling at a higher weight the next season. And then after that, we're into a strength phase, which usually lasts about 3 months, power phase, and then it's all conditioning. Right. August, September, from September to November is basically all conditioning. But a lot of grip work, a lot of neck work, a lot of power work, a lot of Olympic lift. Of course, some of the smaller guys, I won't really teach to clean. I'll get more just into like the clean pull. But so long as they're handling some weight, that it's going to increase their power.
Right.
Overall power, right?
Yep.
That's and have you ever heard of like the Bavarian sandbag?
Yeah.
We used those at the New York Athletic Club. I was out there training with all day with that the grip strength you get from Madison.
Yep.
We had the dummies. I had like a 220-pound dummy. You know, a lot of times in practice there wasn't too many big guys, so like me and the dummy had a lot of lovers going on. You know, I was throwing that thing.
We used to home make them with truck inner tubes and tape off the ends and do them that way. Yeah. Actually, not too long ago, I was looking for some truck inner tubes and make a lot of them so that I would be able to utilize them for the football team and stuff like that. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. But that's good work. That's real world work because it's not balanced. The only thing about sometimes when kids train, it's a skill transfer. So in football, wrestling, nothing's balanced perfect to be lifted, or to be hit. So you have to add that component too. You build it, but then you have to be able to create environments so that is relatable to what the sport that they're about to do.
When I was training in 08 for Beijing, back then the rules were after you would start for the reverse lift. So you got the guy's body wiggling around in here, and you was trying to control him and throw him. You're trying to get the lift, and you got a whole body weight wiggling every which way. You know, that stabilization and core work, you ain't gonna get that anywhere else. Right. You know what I mean?
That's what I like. I like those Turkish get-ups. Those are great for wrestlers.
Insane. They're such good force, such good forward.
That's like one of the best exercises. You can't do nothing else. Turkish get-up.
Oh, yep. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I hated that now I'm fat and lazy, man. All those years of come weight. That's why I became a powerlifter. I was like, I don't even want to come weight again. I'm going to get strong as hell. But no more cardio. I cut the cardio to just do whatever to keep my ass alive.
Why do you want to come to some kind of conclusion, or you want to get some ideas for next time, or what? How long have we been going for?
Yeah, we're good. Yeah, Daddy.
Time we started about 2:15, right? So we've been going for about almost an hour.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I think sometimes that we can also, since we have so many specialists here, I mean, sometimes one day talk about the bench, the squat, or the deadlift, because we have people that do them all here. And that's something people I think would like to listen to too.
Yeah.
Not for football training and everything else.
Right.
Totally.
Throw some of the old school stuff out there for the new school. Get them better. Right.
I tell you, some of these new school guys, I see them in the gym and they're doing stuff that it took me probably about 25, 30 years before I even attempted doing some of the exercises that I see some of these kids do. And now, on top of doing a weird exercise that I've never ever done in my life before, somebody's got to be videotaping these guys. Come on now.
Eddie, I'm gonna tell you something, right? I saw this guy. He's a trainer, and he says, "Yeah, one of my new kids just showed me this new. I never knew this curl existed, and he's doing some bullshit." I'm like, "What the fuck? What kind of coach are you to even allow him to do that bullshit?" And then you talking about you learning from him. What the fuck is that?
I already told bicep. I ain't trying to tear that.
I mean, but it's the goofiest shit you ever wanted to see. And you're like, really? Come on.
That's crazy.
Yeah. All right. Build those fingers. Sucking guys, man, they kill me. Hold something heavy and you're going to build your fucking fingers, motherfucker. Pick something up heavy and you're going to build your grip strength. You know what I mean? You don't need to do this shit and that shit. And this shit, and this shit. What the fuck is that? But,
That's a fact.
I digress. All right, we'll wrap it up, man. I'll catch up to you, gentlemen, and you know,
It was good chat.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
it's good to see you, Eddie. You know what I mean?
You too, man. Stay safe.
Definitely.
Nice meeting
Nice to meet you, Ed. It was a pleasure.
Stay
Love to the
safe,
family.
man.
Definitely. All right, Ski.
Took it up to another level with some of the stuff he's putting together. So I say hats off to him, man, because he wants to bring us to another level and get us out there and talk to people and reach us. I think that's a positive thing.
Let's do it.
All right.
Absolutely.
All right. Take care, gentlemen.
All right,
All right.
guys.
All right.
Take it easy.
All right.
Later.
All right.